We like to call it the Supernatural Hour. And now, our hosts.
Hey, welcome to the Supernatural Hour. I am your host, Raven.
I am Chad.
And we have with us...
Hey, it's me, it's Castle, and I'm back. There's not a damn thing y'all can do about it, except for maybe turn off the podcast. Let's not do that. Let's not get extreme.
Click mute. Click mute. It's already started. Yeah, we're glad to have Castle with us. It's been a hot minute. We're glad you're back.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back.
Yep. So that's what happens when he's your little brother. You can just call him and say, hey, get your butt in the podcast. And he says...
That's true.
And he says, okay. Can I... Do Mom and Dad listen to this? They don't listen to this, do they?
I don't think they listen to this, no.
Okay, I have to tell you the funniest thing, okay? When I say we, there's me, my sister, and two brothers. And we did this recreation photos for our parents for Christmas. You know how you get a photo when you're little and you redo it, but you're big? I don't think I have ever laughed so hard in my entire life.
Oh, it was good times.
That was hilarious. And I think the funniest thing, I have to tell you about our dad. We love our dad. He's amazing, but he had brain surgery in about 1991, and it really affected his short-term memory. So long story, but he was there, and we weren't too worried about it because he doesn't remember it.
He'll forget it.
Yeah, he's already forgotten it. But he didn't quite understand, and my dad is very intelligent. This is just because of the brain surgery that he had, but...
He's also elderly, too, on top of that.
Yes.
So there's a second layer on top of the brain surgery.
Yes, there's a couple layers there.
Yes, and he has got had more memory loss over time. Right after the surgery, he did quite well.
Yeah.
And for quite a while, but the time has taken its toll.
But I think the funniest thing is some of the pictures we recreated, in our childhood home, and he was there. And he didn't quite understand what we were doing. And so we had these weird looks on our faces. And he kept looking at us and he'd say, you look weird. Smile, look happy. It was fun. If you've never done recreation photos, grab your siblings, grab, friends, whoever it is in the photos, go redo them. It's a great time.
And honestly, I think the best part was our little brother in these photos was a baby. And Deanne was holding this baby, and so watching Deanne hold a grown-ass man in her lap was kind of hilarious.
Well, see, there's four of us. I think it's fair to say I'm the littlest of the four, and I think our youngest little brother is the biggest of the four. And yeah, it was a treat. So since I was the oldest, I was holding the baby, in every photo. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be squashed. All right.
It was fun.
It was fun. Okay, sorry. One thing I want to just throw out there, I feel bad. I should have said this at the start, but I didn't. I was just so excited to record again. We are missing Doc, Emmett, Rogue, and Jess tonight. Long story. We were supposed to podcast a couple nights ago. I had something come up. We had to reschedule it. So they're not here. Hopefully they will all be back next time.
We miss them.
We do.
Even though I don't know who half of them are, we still miss them.
Are we ready for our story?
I like stories.
This is kind of our Thanksgiving podcast, as it were. And so when I was looking for stuff for the junk drawer, I thought, I'm going to see if I can find something Thanksgiving-ish. And so I typed in Haunted Thanksgiving. And then a bunch of stuff came up. I'm like, that has to just be like a whole episode later. So I wrote those down. And then I typed in Haunted Turkey. And I got, these are the 10 most haunted places in Turkey. I'm like, no, I wanted like a gobble gobble turkey that was haunted and possessed or something. But no. Anyways, but I found one story and it was fun, but it was short. So then I had to find another one. So I actually have two stories for you. Is that okay?
It works for me.
Okay. So the first one is called The Thanksgiving Ghost. It's a spirit that haunts a railroad line in New York. So what happened, it was on Thanksgiving Day, 1902. A southbound train was coming up on Geneva, New York, and came upon the Marsh Bridge. And as the train approached the bridge, the engineer and firemen that were on board heard this piercing scream, and they looked up, and they saw this white figure standing on the east of the bridge, just frantically waving its arms. So they brought the train to the stop, and as it stopped, they heard another scream, and then the phantom that they saw disappeared before their eyes. Poof, gone. So the men got out of the train. They inspected the track because they're thinking, where did this person go? Nothing was out of place on the track. No signs of any persons or things, animals nearby. So they started to cross the bridge, and they heard the shriek one final time. So, it scared them. They get back onto the train. They pull into the station, and they're talking to the other railroad workers, and they're like, this weird thing happened. And they learned that there had been an accident on the bridge years prior, and the engineer and fireman both died when the train went off the Marsh Bridge. The article said that the fireman's body was lost to quicksand and never recovered. And ever since the accident, a shrieking phantom is said to be spotted on the bridge every year around Thanksgiving Day. Stories like this, you always wonder, because we've talked about a few things with bridges and phantoms. The point
Goatman Bridge. We had a whole bunch of bridge things.
We had a whole bunch of bridge things. We had to apologize to our Patreons about animal and bridge stories. I didn't realize these all involved animals and bridges. So sorry. The person who kind of recounted the story said he started to think it was an urban legend, but he did find an actual event that very closely matches the details, which was on March 29th in 1873, a train left Syracuse, New York at 7:45 p.m. heading towards Rochester. Within a half a mile of the town of Geneva, the train ran into a sluice of water which had washed out the bridge. The baggage car fell off the back, practically disappeared into the water, but the passenger car stayed on the track. None of the passengers died. But the only people that were killed and lost were the engineer and fireman. They didn't fall into quicksand, though. They were found a few days later down the river. So that ghost story could be true.
No, it's interesting.
Uh-huh.
And a genesis for the event or the thing that is being seen.
Yep.
I'm kind of disappointed. You just don't see that many quicksand deaths anymore.
There's a meme that goes around that says, after watching cartoons in my childhood, I thought quicksand would be a bigger problem than it is.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, I was watching cartoons grow up and thinking, I really got to watch for quicksand.
There just isn't that much of it around.
And as I went to quicksand, I'm like, dang, finally. And then I'm disappointed to find out that it wasn't real.
Oh. Yeah, I don't even know if I could tell you where there's
There'd be some
quicksand
dudes in
anymore.
black suits shut up on my doorstep going, you will not talk about the quicksand.
Okay, so this one you will like. Well, I mean, hopefully you like the last one too.
What is happening? Dan, are you barking?
Yes, it's been a long day. No,
It's Buddy.
that's Buddy. Sometimes he barks, sometimes he rattles. Today he's barking.
We got Maisie downstairs hollering. She's a beagle, and she's hollering right now, and that's getting Buddy going.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a whole choir of dogs barking
Does she
outside.
fly a biplane?
No.
No. If anybody wants a beagle, give me a call. Here's our other Thanksgiving story. Ready for this one? In Jackson, Mississippi, there is a neighborhood that goes by the name of Bellhaven. If you're one of our listeners and you live in this area, I need you to email me and tell me about this because it's fascinating. There's something that is happening that's becoming a serious concern. And the serious concern is that bowls of mashed potatoes are showing up everywhere and nobody knows why. It's like haunted.
Because mashed potatoes are awesome. That's
Bowls
why.
of mashed potatoes. They really are. And the more butter, the better. I'm sorry.
Or they garlic mashed potatoes. That's what we really need.
I think they should just add it in.
There's some dumb 16-year-old just making mashed potatoes and leaving him around just laughing his ass off because he's making mashed potatoes and it's making the news.
Right? And mom's like, what are you doing? I'm just making mashed potatoes.
That kid really likes mashed potatoes.
Okay, so it says, bowls of potatoes in a variety of forms have shown up all over town on people's mailboxes, cars, and front doors. So Jordan Lewis says, and he's lived in the area for years, he says, I walked outside yesterday morning at 7 a.m. I got in my car, and that's when I noticed a white bowl on my windshield. It was full of rainwater. I threw it away, and I was grossed out by it. And Lewis isn't the only one. Michaela Lynn, another Bellhaven resident, saw a bowl of the goods in her mailbox. She started asking around, and she found out that everyone had been finding bowls of the stuff. She thought, oh, this is happening a lot. So they found them on their front porch. One fellow named Sebastian, and I'm not even going to try his last name, said he didn't dare try the stuff for fear of being poisoned, and I'm going to have to agree with him.
You find mashed potatoes on your,
If I find
door
strange food on my door and I don't know who it's come from, I don't eat it.
There's probably some old dude with Alzheimer's going, I can't find my potatoes. He's been wandering the neighborhood.
Yeah, he said some people were thinking maybe the mashed potatoes were poisoned to kill animals. He said, I didn't taste it. I have a 3-second rule, so I didn't touch it. What if it was only there for 2 seconds? Would you have tried it?
I was going to say, how long do you know it was there?
Right. Let's see. Yeah, most of the people think it's just a harmless prank, like you said, Castle, by some kids or some college students in the area. But no one's figured out who it's done. They've done a really good job of keeping themselves anonymous. There's a radio station that says everyone's under the impression it's all good fun, so no one's called the police or gotten excited about it.
And people are really funny because they have a really hard time keeping their mouth shut when they do something. Is that not true, Castle, from a law enforcement standpoint?
Oh, why, yes, it is. People love to talk about the stupid stuff they do.
Yeah. So, but just to kind of give you an idea of this town, it says, so Lewis, the same guy that had the potatoes, says the neighborhood does a lot of quirky things. We decorate road signs. We put Christmas trees in our potholes. So bowls of mashed potatoes is not surprising at all. So when you eat your potatoes at Thanksgiving dinner this year,
think about, what was the name of this town?
Bellhaven.
Bellhaven what?
Bellhaven, Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
It's like an area. So just be glad that your mashed potatoes, you know where they came from and you can eat them.
Locally sourced.
Locally sourced and well-known mashed potatoes.
The Junk Drawer was brought to you by the Hub Theater, one of our friends. We've had some really good investigations there, and Raven has done her Dead Talks Paranormal experience presentation there. We did a couple of those in October, and we'll be going back probably the first part of the year again as one of our investigations out there. It's a great venue and a great place to have meetings or events.
And I'm going to throw one thing out there as we've been doing our Dead Talks. And if you've been to our Dead Talks, it's kind of been the same presentation for quite some time. We've changed out a few pictures, added a few things. But our next Dead Talk is going to be specifically on demonic possession.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
So
that sounds like fun. I've dealt with a couple of those.
Yes, you have. I will be consulting you for a few things on this Dead Talk.
I may invite myself to come participate.
Excellent.
I've got a question for you, Castle.
I was not there. You can't prove anything.
Yes, you were there. Radio Ronan.
Oh, yes.
I heard you did a bunch or some things this October with Radio Ronan.
I did. In fact, for those who are not already Radio Ronan listeners, we did some EVP episodes, 2 EVP episodes, in fact. Then on top of that, we also did a Cursed Object episode for their Patreons. All 3 episodes were very good. We played some EVPs that some people have probably heard who've been following the Supernatural Hour for a while, but we also played some new EVPs, and I've even got some new EVPs that nobody has heard yet that'll be coming out on next year's episode. But we also talked about Popo the Clown, which I know we talked about here on past episodes. We talked about Robert the Doll, which I know we've also touched on here. For those who are interested in the paranormal and supernatural, it would be well worth your while after you've caught up with all the episodes here to go catch some of those episodes there.
And Radio Ronan is the platform in which the Supernatural Hour is also hosted. So we're grateful for them and hosting the Supernatural Hour show.
So as far as residentials, we haven't had any residentials, which is probably kind of good in a way because Raven has not had a chance to recover from October yet. But if you do have something in your house, you need us to come check it out. Don't take what I just said as don't call. Please call because we'd love to come help you. That being said, I did get an email from a gentleman that has... It must be a duplex that he owns. I messaged him back. I haven't heard yet. but he says that there is documented paranormal evidence there. So hopefully we'll be going and doing those to residences soon. And when we do, we will tell you about them.
And you did have quite an involved phone call here not too long ago.
Yes, I was just sitting there thinking there was one other thing I don't remember. So, ever since we've done WISPs, we have done, and, Advanced Paranormal, we have done one, what we call a library presentation, which involves going to a library.
Wow.
I know, really unique name, huh? Who'd have thunk? And these are really fun. These are probably one of my favorite things to do. But we go through a PowerPoint, do a question and answer, and it takes about an hour and a half, depending on how many questions get asked. And then we do a very abbreviated investigation just to kind of put into play the things we've talked about for the last hour. And this year we did 4. So that was one reason why we were so busy. But you always meet 1 or 2 people that you just really kind of connect with. And this one lady that we connected at one of these presentations actually called me yesterday with a lot of questions, and I was able to talk to her for about half an hour and answer questions. And so that's one of the things we really enjoy about this, is just being able to help people and answer questions and resolve a few concerns that she had. So that was
the mission of apps is paranormal education and entertainment. And again, the kind of the mission of WISPs is to be able to help people with issues and problems that they have in their homes or businesses, to help resolve issues and make it so they're not afraid. But apps is education and entertainment.
Right. So
Which
I know
is why we created both of those, is to kind of separate them, because we didn't want there to be a confusion between the WISPs and the apps, because we've had the events in the past with apps where, it's a ticketed event and people have to purchase tickets. And we didn't want to confuse people that they would have to purchase tickets or purchase the services of WISPs, which are always and have
always been
a free service.
Right. That's one of the things we describe in the
PowerPoint.
In the PowerPoint is, why do we have 3 logos? Well, let me tell you.
Because if it wasn't confusing enough, we will make it 6 logos.
We're going to throw a logo here just because we can. No, one is for tax purposes, and like Castle said, one, and the way we describe it, if you're new, haven't listened to us for long, Advanced Paranormal Services, we invite you to us, and we have you buy a ticket to help offset the cost of the venue. And WISPs is when you invite us to your house, and that is always free of charge.
All right, for the business, which is brought to you by Castle Photo Art. Hey, what's that Castle Photo Art thing?
That is a bald, handsome man, a very handsome man, if I might add, who is also a photographer. I am Castle Photo Art. It's a side business I have. In fact, I usually do maybe a photo shoot a week, but I do engagement photos, wedding photos, family photos, headshots. It's fun. If you hire me to do your photos, we have a good time. We laugh. My prices are reasonable, and you'll like what you end up with.
You really will. We actually need to reschedule you for WISP personnel photos again. We need to do that.
I've got some fun new editing techniques too that I have specifically thought would be really fun with shooting the WISPs and Supernatural Hour crew that I think you will like.
Awesome. We'll get that scheduled.
And is there a Castle Nature Studio component of this also?
There is. So my websites are castlephotoart.com or castlenatureart.com. Now, the Castle Nature Art is where my true love is. So I do the Castle Photo Art, like I said, as a business. I also do the Castle Nature Art as a business, but that is more prints, wildlife prints, nature, landscape prints. So if you're looking for fine art photos to hang over the fireplace mantle, castlenatureart.com is where you want to go. And if you don't see what you want there, if you have a specific shot in mind, reach out to me, because I've actually got a lot of stuff that I've not posted there yet. You can also check out my Instagram, which is Castle Nature Art. So Castle_Nature_Art. You can see some of my shots there that I've posted. I'm always posting new material there as well. And then Castle Photo Art is my other Instagram, and that's my family photos, my headshots, weddings, etc. If you want to see that work.
Very cool. All right. So from a business standpoint, paranormal investigations, the paid ones, the ones that we do through Advanced Paranormal, we are on a hiatus until January. We're planning some things starting January to kick back up, but with Thanksgiving and the holiday seasons, Christmas, New Year's, this is a good time for us to take a little bit of a break. We had a really, really busy October.
I still haven't recovered from it.
And
You know, when I used to go full-fledged with Advanced Paranormal Services, I remember October, I was usually exhausted by the end of October. There was very little downtime. It was go, go, go all month long.
Absolutely.
And that's how it is. So we're on a little bit of a break, although we do have our 200th Supernatural Hour episode coming up, and that will be probably in the first part of February. We are currently working on our plans for that. We're going to have an exciting episode.
And if it works out, it's going to be out of state. It's going to be on scene. And I'm not going to tell you where, but I will tell you that we have done a podcast about the place that we're hopefully going to be. That's all I'm going to tell you.
So it'll be fun.
Sounds like fun.
Castle, I'll text you later.
Excellent.
And we want, oh, that was a little loud. Sorry.
And
Should have seen
My ears are bleeding.
should have seen Raven's face.
like, well, alrighty.
We oftentimes do an insider of the episode. This episode, we're going to do the insiders of the episode because we don't have that many insiders, and I wanted to give a shout out to each and every one of them.
Yeah, and I think we started doing the insider of the episode, and then we talked about it, and then I think we forgot it for about 6 or 7 episodes.
So this is a catch-up.
We'll just do everybody.
So we got Lizzie. We've got Sherry College Realtor. We have Ember. We have L.A. We have Stringfellow Hawk. We have Samara. We have the Fosters. We have Noel. And we have Hailstorm. And we're grateful for all of their contributions. They really help us out on the podcast and with all of the things that we're doing. So big shout out to all of them. We really appreciate their support.
Absolutely. And if you aren't an insider, you really should join. You've got some really fun perks. We have an amazing, just coming to the insider picnic and investigation is worth it. It is fantastic every single time. I love it.
Yeah, and even at the initial $5 patron on that, you're invited to the patron insider event.
With guests.
The thing is with the whole insider thing, if you don't want demons, that's how you get the demons is by not being an insider. So I'm just
Exactly.
going to put it out there.
Castle knows that from experience. Because the demons are going to come get you.
So, again, thanks, patrons. We really appreciate your help on that. If you're not a patron and would like to sign up, you can go out to patreon.com, Supernatural Hour.
Yep. Or you can just go to our website. There's a link there, too, isn't there?
Yep. advancedparanormal.com and a link site. So that's it for the business.
Yep.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
I think we got it.
Stay spooky, my haunty friends.
Hey, have a great night.
Out we go.
You've been listening to the Supernatural Hour at AdvancedParanormal.com. The Supernatural Hour is part of the Radio Ronin network found at RadioRonin.com. Copyright by Advanced Paranormal Services.